There's a kind of silence that follows betrayal. Not the loud, shattering kind filled with screaming and broken plates, but the quiet, suffocating kind that settles deep in your bones. That's what I felt the moment I opened the old shoebox from the attic. I wasn't looking for secrets. Just a photo album from the year we got married. Something to show our daughter for her school project on family history. But instead, I found a stack of letters, yellowed with time, folded with care that didn't belong to me. At first, I thought they were from me. I had written my wife plenty of love letters in our younger days. But the handwriting was different. The words were too intimate, too detailed, too recent for a long-lost friend. And then I saw the name at the bottom of each page, G. My heart dropped. I knew that name. Gregory. My wife's college ex-boyfriend. The one she swore she had cut ties with decades ago. I read through the letters like a man watching his entire life unravel in slow motion. They weren't just memories. They were proof of something ongoing, stretching back 20 years. Hidden rendezvous during work trips. Miss you already notes dated only 5 years ago. A hotel receipt tucked between the envelopes from 2 summers back. The same weekend she claimed she was visiting her sick aunt in Chicago. For over 2 decades, I had been living a half-truth. We had built a family, raised 2 kids, celebrated milestones. All while she carried on an emotional, sometimes physical, second life behind closed doors. And the worst part? I didn't see it. Or maybe I did and convinced myself not to look too closely. She was always attentive enough, affectionate when it mattered, and clever. God, she was clever. Never a cent out of place. Never a bill unpaid. Just the right amount of normal to keep me from suspecting anything. I sat there for what felt like hours. The letters sprawled across the floor, memories crashing over me like waves. Birthdays, anniversaries, even our vow renewal 10 years ago. All tainted now. It wasn't just the affair. It was the choice. The choice she made every single time she returned home. Kissed my cheek, and acted like nothing had ever happened. I didn't know yet what I'd say. But I knew when I did, it wouldn't be with rage. It would be with 7 words that she'd never see coming. I didn't confront her right away. For the first time in our 24-year marriage, I found myself watching her like a stranger. The way she hummed while making coffee. The way she folded laundry while talking about weekend plans. I studied every gesture, every blink, every breath, looking for guilt, or remorse, or maybe just some crack in the facade that had fooled me for so long. But there was nothing. She was calm, warm, familiar, and that somehow hurt even more. Because it meant that betrayal had become routine for her. Something she could carry without flinching. I replayed moments from years ago that I'd dismissed. Late-night phone calls she said were work emergencies, the old friend she bumped into on her girls' trip, the quiet tension she brought back from certain holidays. They had all meant something, and I had let them go. I kept waiting for her to sense something was off. But she didn't. She had no idea her secret had surfaced. No clue that the version of me she knew had died the moment I opened that shoebox. When I finally decided to speak, it wasn't at home. I waited until we were out to dinner with our son and daughter. Our favorite spot, a place thick with family memories. I wanted her to hear the truth surrounded by everything she had endangered. It wasn't revenge. It was reflection. We sat there, smiling like any normal family, while the kids joked about college and internships. She reached across the table, brushing her fingers over mine. And that's when I realized how well she had taught herself to lie, not just to me, but to herself. I looked her in the eyes and felt a strange calm settle over me. This was it. Not the fireworks of a fight. Not the explosion of years of hurt. Just a scalpel made of 7 words. As our daughter stood up to take a call, and our son looked down at his phone, I leaned in slightly and said them quietly, clearly. I know about Gregory. It's over. For a second, her face didn't register anything. Just a blink. A pause. Then her expression shattered. The smile faded, her hand dropped, her posture stiffened like someone caught mid-sin in the house of God. She opened her mouth, but no sound came. My son looked up, confused, asking if everything was okay. I nodded. We'll talk later. And I meant it. But not with her. With the kids. Because the mask had fallen now, and what was left behind wasn't the woman I married. Just someone who had borrowed her face. She followed me out to the car in silence, eyes wide, mouth trembling like a dam about to burst. "Please," she whispered, grabbing my arm. "Let me explain." But there was nothing left to explain. 20 years of choices don't get undone in 20 seconds of panic. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized I didn't hate her. I pitied her. Because she had chosen a love built in shadows over a life that had tried to give her sunlight. "You had a chance to be honest," I said, voice low but steady. "You had 2 decades of chances. And every time you came home, every time you smiled at me, every time you let me love you without truth, that was a decision." She started to cry then, the kind that rattled her shoulders and cracked her voice. But it didn't move me. Not because I had no feelings left, but because I had finally run out of the strength to keep carrying both her weight and mine. She begged me to come inside, to talk, to give her time. I gave her none. I drove off, and that night, I booked a hotel room. Then a lawyer. Then a therapist. I was done bleeding quietly. The divorce wasn't explosive. It was clinical. I told the kids first. Not all the details, just the truth that their mother and I were parting ways because of long-standing betrayal. They were shocked, angry, confused. But they understood more than I expected. Especially our daughter. She said something I'll never forget. "I always wondered why you looked tired after vacations." And that was it. That was the moment I knew I had done the right thing. I'd spent too many years carrying doubt like a silent disease, trying to love someone who had split her heart in two. In the months that followed, she tried to win me back. Letters, calls, mutual friends reaching out. But I never replied. I didn't need to, because those 7 words had already done what I needed. Ended the illusion. Ended the pretending. Ended the part of me that waited for her to be someone she no longer was. Sometimes, closure doesn't come in shouting or revenge. Sometimes, it arrives on a quiet night, wrapped in the echo of a sentence that set you free. I know about Gregory. It's over. 7 words. 1 truth. And a man who finally walked away whole.